everyone. This is just a little sneak peek, and I don't know when you're going to be seeing this because I've been sent this deck, prototype deck. It's not a full deck by the creator, but we're supposed to wait until we show it. So I'm not sure when you'll be seeing this, but I'm going to go ahead because I want to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox it. Again, this is a prototype type deck. And also kind of testing the packaging and how it holds up and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a multi-layer test. So it came in this brown box. There's a hilarious, I will put a link to his Instagram in here because he did a hilarious like test video on Instagram where he like packaged everything up and then he was like throwing it against the wall, kicking it, bouncing it. I'm like, well, the one thing you didn't do is have an elephant step on it, because sometimes it seems like an elephant steps on these things. So I'll put his handle down there. So it comes in all of this like black packaging, and then we have, or black, stuff. Now this is just a proto, this is not the actual guidebook. So this is just kind of his, why he created things the way he created, what he's looking for. Again, this is just a prototype to get things rolling, to see how things go, get some response from people, just to get some feedback and stuff, that kind of thing. So very exciting. I think that's everything in there. Lots of crinkly blacks. So then here he has, and of course he's got, again, if you go on his channel, he's got a prototype of the box and everything. It's, the box looks absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and open this up and take a peek. It's so fun to like peek at. I did a lot of printing things. Oh, these are beautiful. Look at these. So the actual cardstock and the size and everything like that is how it's intended to be in the final product. He edged this himself, but he intends for it to be edged. Apparently he said there's some slight ghosting in some of the gloss, but that is something that's being worked. These are absolutely gorgeous. And also some of the artwork is not finished. So this is, again, a prototype and they may be changed. This is a stunning black matte. So it's beautiful silky matte cardstock, but then as you can see, there is gloss overlay. See that? That's gloss, and you can see it on the back. It says, look at that. Oh my goodness. I knew it. I mean, he's put a lot of great images up, but I didn't realize how gorgeous of a matte card it was. So that's amazing. So obviously there's the Magician, which is really awesome. This is so interesting to me because I've been following this. Somebody pointed it out to me. And this is not a style of artwork that normally appeals to me. But at the same time, the way that he is, his enthusiasm and everything, and just the stunning nature of it has really drawn me into it, even though it's not something that's generally me. The color, use of color, look at that, just that bit of light coming in there is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This is the Destiny card. Let's see what he says about that. He's given us some ideas of what we're looking at. Destiny would have been the Wheel of Fortune. He sits there calm and patient, embodied in a near human entity, but be not misled. He is not part of this world and cannot be known. Interesting. He weaves the strands of collective fate. It's really interesting. Look at the Star card. Now, I just hope you can see the gloss here. And again, this beautiful light that's above, almost in a constellation form, is really Really gorgeous. I love this matte cardstock. Here we have the sun, which is a beautiful woman dancing, no babies. Love the yellows in this deck. Look at the sunflowers, which again are so stunning. The yellows. He seems to use a lot of yellows, or the cards I've seen have lots of yellows in them. Maybe that's the major arcana, but they're stunning. They're absolutely gorgeous yellows. And look at just like the petals that just are flying up there with the motion of her dancing. Very beautiful. Look at this moon card. There is moon, almost like those yods that you normally see that are in that gloss. Let's see what he says about the moon. There's a huge menacing hand looming over the scene while a massive crescent moon pours water with no discernible source. And you end up realizing that the hand that she's pointing to is actually the hand. See how that's done? So she's pointing down and you can see this sort of thing here, and that's actually what we're seeing. So it's this like multi-dimension. I love that. Love it. Here we have the strength card with a snake. See again the use of yellows here. I love that she doesn't look like she's conquering the snake, although there are, I don't know if you can see them, but they're in gloss. There are like implements of, you know, axes and things of that nature. But she's just standing there comfortable. The people definitely have sort of an anime, realistic, but also kind of a little bit of a, this one kind of looks a little, I mean, look at him now, he's awesome. I don't know how to describe it. This one kind of looks really beautifully animated. They don't seem to have, you know, whilst she obviously has breasts, it almost a little bit like genitalia-wise, we're really not seeing anything here. We have quite a muscular justice card here. And she's veiled, which is awesome. Again, the use of yellows. You see the constellation that's going on. The scales, crown of crown. Doesn't say. But that definitely appears to be a constellation. It doesn't look like it's Libra. Pretty cool. Oh, look at the Hermit. Again, you do have a lot of sort of... not a lot of clothing or some degrees of nudity, but it doesn't, this, like, for example, this doesn't necessarily to me look sexual at all. It's just she's, you know, she's got that vulnerability underneath. I love that she's kind of pulling off the cloak or the hood there, or else a he, sorry. I will say that, which it can be nice as well. The people are, in some ways, some of them are quite androgynous, as I would have probably guessed that this was a female. But then when he says, when I read it and it says male, I can see that as well. And I actually quite like that, because I think that it can just work with whoever, how you see that card can pop forward. Definitely beautiful people, well chiseled, well muscular, thin. You know, we're not seeing obviously, and very white to the degree of not really color. You know what I'm saying? They're just kind of that real kind of anime white, almost to be colorless. But you certainly get that sense of Caucasian model figures. But that's not something, look at that, do you see that? But I do like the kind of androgynous aspect, although on many of them you can tell. Like, for example, the Magician's very clearly a man, Chariot's fish. So some of them are very clear, but some are also, could go either way. Again, love the yellow. Love this sort of map of stars here along the bottom with the Chariot. Definitely get that sense of like he is like Mercury or Hermes or somebody. And the movement is very clearly in his own feet versus you know, a chariot of some kind. And then we have the aces here, or a couple aces, 2 aces it looks like. The ace, again, that beautiful use of yellow. So I don't know, it looks like all of, well, there's some red there. Oh, that's a sad one. But you do get a lot of that yellow color, which is so stunning. I quite like this. Again, it's, you know, what I would call digital art, but just beautifully done. Look at that Ace of Swords. I love the flame there and the yellow roses. Here we have the Knight of Swords. It just says Knight here, but you know, there's clearly 2 swords in his, and he's riding on the wind, which is really awesome. It's surprisingly not difficult to see the titles. Look at her. This, well, see, I don't know. She must be a wand. That must be a wand. You know, I probably, if I'd look at the book, but I'm just trying to enjoy the experience of them. Let's see what knights he has listed here. Oh, maybe page. No, this one says knight. This one says knight. They both say knight. Yeah, Knight of Swords and Knight of Wands. Yeah, I like how they talk about how she's leading with the shield. She's driving forward, which you think of with fire. So that's pretty awesome. So this would be the Knight of Swords, and this would be the Knight of Wands. Here is a Knight of Coins. Very kind of Cernunnos there. Interesting with the book in hand. I like the blacksmith hammer there. Okay, and then here would be the... Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I love him. Okay, let's just stop for a minute. Here we have knights. I know she is the wands because of the description. Oh, this might be a cup there, although that just looks like a sword, so maybe, okay, let's take a look here. Knight of Swords is the most active. While others opt for a weapon and a shield, and another, this one believes there's a 2 swords. So yeah, that's definitely the Knight of Swords. This is a Knight of Wands leading with a shield, which makes sense. The Knight of Pentacles, well prepared, crafting her armor, inspecting for any abnormalities. And it talks about that there's a sort of flatness, which you can definitely see because it's just form over function over form in a way here. So that's interesting. Oh, I see, because here we have a flower here for the Knight of Cups. A sensitive, imaginative, romantic individual. His is the most beautifully decorated of all of the armors, but also the least effective. So even his sword kind of just looks like it's made out of fantasy. So that's interesting. I like how, you know, he's talked about the different styles of armor and how those can relate to the knights. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think he's a gorgeous page here of wands. Here we have the Queen. I think this is supposed to be the Queen of Swords. I have to say a little bit, I would think Queen of Wands here because these don't actually look like swords to me. Of course, the artwork is also not finished, so we'll have to see about that. But I do like the inscriptions of this kind of sash here. I love the King of Swords. I think he is absolutely gorgeous. Here we have the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups. Beautiful. This Three of Cups I think is stunning. I saw this on his Instagram. Look at all the yellows. I mean, look at the 6. It's so beautiful. It really is. Again, this isn't traditionally an art style that I tend to go for, but you can see with the minors, there is less, if any, well, no, that's the chariot. Yeah, so far the minors don't have as much gloss additions, which makes sense, as the majors do. Now, whether that changes, let me look at his notes here. Some paintings may be retouched, and nearly all glossy artwork of the major will be worked with additional symbolism. So yeah, but there's not a lot, if any, in the minors, and I actually really like that because it helps the majors obviously really stand out. But I love these cup cards. I love this Two of Swords. Just 2 swords. 3 swords, pretty traditional, Rider-Waite-Smith style, but absolutely gorgeous. Here be the 4 of Swords. I love that we get to see a lot of the swords. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 of Swords. I love the lotus there. 6 of Swords. 7 of Swords with the poor mouse. I'm going to read that one. Look at this 8 of Swords. I love. See the use of color? This one's a rough one. For the 9, we're going to read these. So let's see what his view is on these swords. It seems to be quite Rider-Waite-Smith, although this interesting 10 of Swords, because while we have all these birds that are stabbed, we do have one surviving, and that kind of hope for tomorrow in those as well. So that's good. So let's look at, see, the 3 and 4, 6, 7. So the 7 of Swords borrows from the Western terms rat as an informer or traitor in a cloak and dagger, a clandestine and often subversive operation. The 7 of Swords recalls a time of betrayal and secrecy, a rat skulking in the dark, daggers torn through cloaks and dishonor. So I personally, because I don't read the 7 of Swords that way, but there is things skulking in the shadow, and there's things that we might not be aware of what's happening and what's going on. We don't have the full story. This is something that I can still read with. For the 9 of Swords, the darkest hour, desperation, and loss of hope, we have the white rabbit, which is traditionally a symbol of luck, has been brutally impaled. Through this, the red that flows from the pure white rabbit is not blood, it's rose petals. The scene starts to take on the characteristics of dreams instead of reality, alluding to the possibility that this dread is perhaps not real. Is the bunny itself real, or perhaps a stuffed animal filled with petals? So there is that kind of questioning of reality there, which is interesting. And then the 10 of Swords, the deep suffering and tragedies associated with the most trying of times. But all things, the good and the bad, must come to an end, and so must the longest night. A single bird seems to have escaped and stands amidst his brethren's body. The small sun rises in the background. So you definitely have that sense of difficulty, such as in the Wild Unknown 10 of Swords. But I definitely you have that clear vision of things coming, good things coming, and the sun coming up again on another day. I really love just some details that I love. I love the use of light shining down. There's that angle of light in almost all of them. I don't want to mix up the see that? It's like this light shining down and kind of reflecting. I really like that. In this style of the deck, it really stands out in a gorgeous highlighting way, and I really love that. That's a big plus for me. So there you have it. This is just kind of a peek at this prototype of this beautiful deck that is called True Black Tarot. And I should have said this at the beginning. Does he have his name in here? But it's True Black Tarot, and I will have the information in the description box below, especially with his Instagram account, because it's wonderful to watch. I think he's doing a fantastic job I know he's getting ready to launch the Kickstarter, which I'll put information below as well. But this is a beautiful, beautiful prototype. Look at that. And again, fabric, or you know, let me try to shuffle it. Because it's just this matte black, and I know he might cringe, but let's try to give it a riffle shuffle and see what we get. Yeah, no, I think it's going to shuffle. I don't know if that's going to be recommended with the glossy and matte aspects, but it shuffles really nice. Yeah, this deck feels very luxurious. That is for sure. So there you have it, just kind of a look at the prototype. It's really fun to be able to kind of see what somebody is doing and what they're working on, and where directions that they're going with a tarot deck like this. Kind of get in at the ground floor. And so I wish him the best of luck as this progresses. Because I think it's really beautiful, even though, again, it's so different than anything I would normally purchase. But be given his images on his Instagram, and just his energy, and that's happened to me with other decks. Like the energy of the creator causes me to pause and take a look and just be drawn in. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.